It is science and technology. It is scientific research in seemingly futile pursuits that has brought humanity from the jungle age to the Mongol age. It would be penny wise to sacrifice space research that will fetch long term gains on the altar of short term expedience. So, why should the government not spend millions, even billions, with the expectation of long term gains? There are long term gains, no doubt. Indian Space Research Organization ISRO that started making small investments in space research has turned in a big revenue earner already. Returns are being received not only in the form of Indian satellites being placed in the orbit, but also through revenue earned from satellites of other countries being so placed. Indirectly, such research also solves the problem of poverty. We have become much better in predicting storms and cyclones thanks to the meteorological satellite. These predictions help the poor who are affected the most at the time of natural disasters. The satellite data are also used to help farmers and the fishermen. Then there is education of the poor through EduSet. Remote sensing data help us trap our natural resources. Remote sensing data help in trapping water, minerals and energy in a better way. We have improved the defense of our country and this in the long run avoids wars and keeps the country's economy stable and morale of the citizens high. Space research creates a lot of employment too. There are those who do not approve for this expenditure. They believe that when there are people still living below the poverty line, when there are cases of deaths due to starvation, when the poor are becoming poorer, the first priority should be the starving child, not a visit to the moon or the Mars. However, these are the people that fail to see the difference between short term gains and long term gains. Part of our short term gains has to be sacrificed so that we can secure our future. So, yes, the government should be investing significantly into space research for long term gains. Earth is our home, no doubt. Earth is a finite resource. So, the future of mankind lies in the outer reaches of space. The emergence of a standard dialect produces the phenomenon known as accent, which is quite different from dialect. In the process of learning a foreign language, it is normal to transfer the patterns of an indigenous language to those of the foreign language. With time, however, those of form and most of those of orthography and phonology gradually get eliminated. This is because they can easily be identified and corrected. They are easy to correct because they do not involve patterns of muscular movement. It is also necessary to correct them, otherwise, they could seriously impair intelligibility. With phonetic patterns, on the other hand, there is a great deal of intelligibility tolerance because muscular patterns are involved, thus making corrections difficult when observed. Besides, phonetic patterns do not impair intelligibility much. Hence, the transference of phonetic habits from one language to another is both easier to tolerate and more difficult to avoid than transference at the lexicogrammatical level. It follows that a speaker who is learning a second dialect does so with an accent since the muscles of his speech organs would have crystallized in response to the phonetics of his native language which he learnt first. The speaker therefore speaks the second dialect with the phonetic features of his native dialect. The learning of a standard language is simply the learning of a second dialect, that which has been standardized. Members of a language community control at least two dialects and use both dialects in different situations. In the rural areas, the native dialect is used in the most situations since there is less movement. Therefore, rural dwellers tend to be parochial and maintain the homogeneity of their dialect. In the urban community, on the other hand, there is more demand on the standard dialect than on the rural one. This is because people from different regions converge here. In order to ensure mutual intelligibility resulting from the pressure of communication, a great deal of demand is made on the standard dialect, which now becomes the lingua franca among them.